Welcome to the Cuda Photography Podcast, a podcast that explores nature and wildlife photography in your own backyard and throughout the United States. Welcome back to the podcast. In this episode 6, I'm going to take you with me on a trip to Merritt Island, and specifically a lap through Blackpoint Wildlife Drive. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to those who have stayed with me through my first 6 episodes. I have no doubt there will be many more to come. If you enjoy the podcast or have questions, feel free to drop me an email at matt.cuda@mattcuda.com. I'll put the email address in the show notes as well. So this episode is about Blackpoint Wildlife Drive, which is part of Merritt Island. And Merritt Island is just outside Titusville, Florida. It's part of the NASA base where they launch rockets and the shuttle and all that. It's a Blackpoint itself is a well-maintained 7-mile one-way road that is really a wildlife photographer's paradise. It does have a cost. The cost is $5 per vehicle to enter the park. It's paid by placing your money in an envelope at the gate. This is a fairly long episode, so I want to get right into it. The only editing I did for this was to take out some of the long pauses, and so it's pretty much raw audio through my iPhone, so the quality is going to be it's okay, but it's obviously done through a hands-free headset. So I am not going to have a Know Your Subject segment because this whole episode is really about knowing your subject. There are images that sort of kind of go along with this episode. You can view them from a link in the show notes. Anyway, so without further ado, I bring you the trip to Merritt Island. Okay, I'm here at Merritt Island, Florida. I just pulled into the Blackpoint Wildlife Drive. I'm immediately amazed at the amount of birds here. Right now I can see probably, I'm guessing 20 white ibises. Saw the ubiquitous great egrets on the way in. But I'm going to keep going here. I'm kind of here at kind of a bad part of the day. I'm here at 1:30. So we got the sun pretty much overhead. But wow, an amazing habitat here so far. This is my first time being down here in this location. But lots of good habitat, lots of grasses, just a large salt marsh, a very well maintained road. It does cost $5 to get into the park, but it's all day long. You can drive around this thing one time or 1,000 times, as many times as you want to within a day. Now, it's not a two-way road. It's only a one-way road, so you got to keep going around and around. Unfortunately, that also means that it's difficult to shoot from the right side of your vehicle if you're driving here. So I'm coming up on some birds here, and we've got. Oh yeah, this is a great bird here. I take that back. I thought it was a reddish egret. Yeah, it is. That's a reddish egret. He's doing his little dance to find some food. The lighting's bad there. I'm just going to keep driving. And one of the things that just blows my mind is that we even have places like this. And I'm so thankful that we do. It's just amazing. And this is actually on actually owned by NASA. There's another reddish egret. Got a great egret. Got a tricolored heron flying. Tricolored heron flying right at me. They are hunting. I literally had a few minutes ago. I had an egret fly right in front of the windshield, maybe about 10 feet away from my windshield. Of course, I'm only doing 20 miles an hour, but I mean, literally, you can spend all day here. Now, from a photography perspective, you're not going to have a lot of good quality images at this time of the day. Now, that's going to change rapidly here. We're coming up on 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, here, this is interesting. Now, I've got a whole
I've got another maybe 20 or 30 ibises here off to the left. Beautiful birds. There are wood storks here. I'm coming up on another small set of birds here. Looks like tricolored herons. We have quite a bunch of both the ibis and the tricolored heron here. I've not seen any little blue herons, though. I did see a green heron. But this is just generally, you just want to kind of drive around here and scout it first. I don't even have my camera lens mounted yet. But I'll tell you what, it's just stunning. The quality is just stunning. I apologize for the quality of the recording here. I'm just using my hands-free device and the notes feature on my iPhone. It is a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit inside on the Blackpoint Wildlife Drive itself. You don't want to be speeding around here anyway. You're revving your engine up and stuff like that. It's going to create a lot of dust. And see, I've gotten a little too fast here for my car. There's a canal that runs down the right side, and the salt marshes are off to your left generally. That does change from time to time as you drive through here. The canal has gators. It has... Hold on a second, I gotta fix this thing. It's driving me crazy. Okay, I'm at stop number 2, which is just a little pull-off here. You can do a little reading if you want to. If you're a birder, they kind of outline what to expect here. There's gators, there's bobcats, rabbits. Now the anhinga is a cool bird. If you've never seen an anhinga, they have those here. It's also called a snake bird. They actually swim with their necks sticking out of the water, nothing else. Their body's submerged because it's heavy and waterlogged. There are osprey here, and there are bald eagles. But I have yet to see a bald eagle. I was here a couple days ago, just kind of scouting it. I didn't see any bald eagles. I suspect they're here, though. I did see a hawk. I saw a lot of kingfishers. But just pretty much, you just look any direction, you can pretty much see any number of egrets. Florida's a huge, huge egret place. Here we've got looks like some kind of heron. It's hard to see from here. Probably a tricolor. No, that's that's an anahinga. We got an anahinga, and looks like out in the middle, hard to see from here, it looks like I can't think of the name of the bird now. Cormorant, double-crested cormorant, looks like, out there. Continuing around, there's a large lake off to the left now. It's a little more than a salt marsh. It's still shallow, but it's very lake-like. I didn't see a lot of activity right in the lake. Now, down here in the end, there's a kind of a dam that you drive across, and there was a lot of activity there yesterday when I cruised through. Huge amounts of great egrets, snowy egrets, maybe 30 or 40 birds at least, maybe 50. There's also a huge migration right now of the coots. The coots are here in force, the American coot. There's hundreds, literally hundreds of coots here. So if you want to try your hand at photographing some waterfowl, have at it. Now we're here, this is actually November 17th, I believe. I forget what the day is. There's another anahinga. I probably saw 10 anahingas here yesterday. There's another reddish egret. Lots of coots. Just amazing. Just hundreds and hundreds again. Just driving by, probably 200 coots right there. I'm surprised that they're not working the shore a little bit more. That's kind of interesting. I see they're out in the middle more. And coots usually like to, at least the ones I've encountered in the past, like to kind of get in there and hang out along the shore where they can get food better. But apparently there's some vegetation out there they're working. There's a huge splash over there on the far side. That could have been a gator. It was really a large splash. There are quite a few gators here. I only saw 2, but I'm guessing, more than that, maybe 20, 30 at least. Another tricolored heron. That might be a little blue heron. No, that's tricolored. Lots of herons, although I've only seen one great blue heron, oddly enough. I find that strange. But as the sun shifts here, we'll be able to start taking some better photographs. It's kind of surprising that there's not as many birds here today, and I kind of thought there would be. There's still a lot, and you'll be able to photograph tons. I talked to a photographer yesterday here, or day before. I guess it was yesterday. No, I don't remember, but he was talking about that December is the best time for here. Now, I'd heard that November and December were both good, but I'm beginning to agree with him that this is not nearly the level of waterfowl I thought would be here. I was looking forward to seeing some teals and gadwalls and things like that. I haven't seen really any of that here. Mostly wading birds. Certainly plenty of opportunity here to photograph, though. It looks like we might get a little rain here too. Remember, this is Florida, so it's rainy state, a sunny and a rainy state. So there's more coots here, maybe 20 to 30 more coots over there. Not seeing a lot of activity. I think the birds are probably back in across the way here. I mean, because you've got probably a couple, 3 miles looking across this massive salt marsh. You could have birds anywhere and everywhere. But there is plenty of food here for them. When I was out walking, there was fish jumping everywhere out in here. There's plenty of food, frogs, fish, probably, maybe even some of that shrimp. I can't remember the name of it. There's a shrimp that gets in the backwater or blackwater areas. This is supposedly a good place to bicycle. There's 2 bicyclers here in front of me as well, so you can come in and do that. If you're a photographer, I don't recommend the whole bicycle thing because it just, I don't know, they just kind of get in my way. I can't carry a 600mm lens and in a backpack and 2 camera bodies and be riding a bicycle all over. It just doesn't work for me. I'd rather walk, I think. So we're approaching a little area up here where you can actually get out of your vehicle and walk down a dike. I'll probably do that because I'm not seeing any other activity here. This is about the halfway point right here. I don't expect to see a whole lot today based on just my observations here, but I mean, things can change in a second. I mean, 1 minute birds can be everywhere, and the next minute they can be gone, and they'll be back. They know where their food is. I'm sure that the people that maintain this area make sure there's plenty of food and fish around here for these birds. I'm going to keep driving, actually. I'm going to drive the whole route for you so you get a feel for just how long this actually is. I've been driving at 15 miles an hour, pretty much steady, from between 5 and 15 miles an hour steady. And that's just a lot. Now, you want to drive slowly because, literally, I was able to get a just awesome portrait of some cormorant birds and things like that. Now, here's the anahinga here. You just see his neck sticking out, and he just popped up his head again. But yeah, drive super slow, especially if you're ready to shoot. I can see out now, maybe 100 yards away to my right, there's another flock of something or other over there, white birds. Could be ibis, could be some great egrets. Doesn't look like ibises. It could be ibises, whatever you want to call them. I call them both. Potato, I guess. Now, I'll tell you what. I'll bet anything that on the cooler days you get a little more activity. This one is 83 degrees today, which is not really hot at all. Sometimes there's a little temptation to speed along here because you know that there's not going to be any birds. But don't do that because you'll miss a bird. I guarantee it, you'll miss something. And don't just look for birds. Now, they say that there's other wildlife here, bobcats and various marsh rabbits, marsh hares, whatever they call them. We don't have those where I'm from. I have no idea. I'm coming up to stop number 5. We've got, again, a bunch of birds sleeping out here. Because this is the time of day when they sleep. You know, they've already had their big feed in the morning. But, yeah, snowy egrets. Looks like some kind of gulls out there. It's kind of a salt marsh. Kind of a dried salt marsh area right here. A little mucky. Got a canal going down my left. Not seeing any activity there. Not even seeing a gator. It's pretty hot right now. Down here, looks like off to my left, I've got a large flock of something. They're white. They're about 50 yards, 75, 80 yards away, I guess. Got a car in front of me here. Basically, you're looking at... Oh, this is interesting here. Looks like a big flock of... I don't know, are they gulls? Could be a type of gull. Yep, that's a gull of some sort. Can't see from here. Maybe herring gulls or something. There's also some sandpiper-looking birds there as well. Some shorebirds. Not really in range. None of these birds so far have been in range of my lens. So I'm not even bothering to stop. One of the things that you can do is if there's not a lot of activity, what I did yesterday, if there's not a lot of activity along the shoreline, what I did was I pulled out, got outside the car and just started shooting birds in flight. That's always an option. But you just look. I mean, there's to my right. I see a great egret. And you're gonna see a lot of birds now. Whether you can get them in close enough. There's a fish jumping. Lots of fish activity here. There's some more coots. Maybe 30 coots. Coming up to stop number 7. There's another tricolored heron. Boy, they're just here in force. Great egret. Not seeing any gators. I'm not really looking for gators anyway. They got to look very carefully for a gator. Oftentimes they only have their eyes sitting up above the water. There's a great blue right there. Very, very skittish bird. That's the first great blue I've seen, or the second great blue I've seen here. He's very skittish of me. Even having my car right here, he's walking very slowly. He's hunting, but he's a bit distrustful of me. I tell you what, blue herons are probably one of the most skittish birds I've ever in my life encountered. He's kind of working through some brush. I don't know what this stuff is called here, but it's everywhere. It's kind of a low shrub or tree. I need to look it up and see what it is. Again, the lighting is not good here. He's strutting along there pretty good. I'm probably going to get my camera out at this point and just see what we're going to do next here. Okay, I'm back. Our great blue heron has moved on, so I'm going to head down the road here. And I've got my camera already. I got out the old 1D Mark II today. Oh my goodness, there's another great blue. Right off my left. Oh man, that's beautiful. I'm going to have to take some shots. I got some ibises flying over out here. Actually, I'm going to skip that shot. I don't like the lighting there yet. It's going to get better here in a little bit. Let's just keep driving. I got my window down now. It's going to get hot in here. There's a lot of wasps and honeybees out here. I've had this chase them right out of my car. I'm not saying it's that way all the time. Now, what is that bird next to that great ibis? Is that a bird? I don't know what the heck that thing is. I guess it's I guess it's an ibis. No, that's not an ibis. That looks like a raptor. I'm about to find out. I just want to ID if there's a guy behind me that's kind of being impatient. I don't know what that is. I have no idea. No idea what that thing is. It's too far out of range. I may have to switch to my 7D. These birds are a little skittish today. I don't know what's going on. There's maybe a weather pattern's moving in here. Coming up to stop number 8. And what's interesting here is you've got a lot of different plants. You kind of got a very open, flooded area with a lot of brush out in there. Apparently at certain times of the year, this must be really a hot spot because they've got a special stop here for it. Yeah, it says on the sign, waterfowl. So yeah, when I can't believe the migratory birds are not here yet. Now there's a hunting great egret, but he's in a weird spot. I'm not going to stop for him. This guy behind me is kind of being a pain. One thing you got, don't let people like that bother you. You know, if you got somebody kind of riding your tail, just pull off the road, let them by. You know, this is a self-paced, slow. You really need to go about 5 miles an hour or less to even see the wildlife. I think I'm going to let this guy through here. And they'll just scoot right by you, and then you can kind of proceed. There's barely enough room for 2 vehicles to go through here. You actually may want to bring some off or some kind of DEET, some kind of bug spray with you, because there's a lot of mosquitoes and things like that around here. A lot of bugs. I actually forgot to bring mine with me, which was stupid. There's another great blue heron way off in the distance. This is a weird pattern here. I'm seeing less ibises and roseate spoonbills, and I'm seeing more great blue herons today. I'm not sure what that means. If I was a biologist, I could tell you probably, but some kind of pattern has emerged here. There's some more coots to my right. I'll tell you what, if you were in the coots, and you'd be in heaven right here, man. Now there's a pair of them right there. That's unusual to just see a pair. Usually you see them in mass. There's another little area you can walk out on. Not really anywhere to park your car. It'd be a good little bicycle run there. There's a huge fish just jumped. There's a waterfowl here. It almost looks like a coot. I'm not sure what it is. A very small duck-like bird. I need to look it up online. I've never seen one before. This is a relatively new experience for me. I'm not a Florida birder, so this is extremely new. Another fish jumping. This is a large lake that they've got here. Or during the huge migration of December, a lot of ducks come in here. Nothing's here right now, really. There's a few permanent waterfowl here. I'm just going to keep going with the tour. I'm not going to stop. This is actually stop number 9. But you can see just how long this is. I mean, I've been traveling steady. I haven't even stopped for anything. And now this might be something interesting here. There's something in with the coots. Some kind of waterfowl. I'm not familiar with them. I'm going to actually get out of my vehicle and attempt to photograph these. They're backlit. Oh, doggone it, they're backlit. Shoot. Man, every time I get a good shot, it seems like it's either a backlit situation or... Okay, here, I'm coming up on a great egret here, and he looks like he's hunting. I'd like to get him with a frog if possible. So I'm going to come up in here and sneak up. He's going to strike right now if I don't get up there. He's looking at something now. I'm just going to take a few shots of this egret here. I'm at 600 millimeters. He's going to strike. He's going to strike right now. He is on the hunt, man. That's all I'm saying. He got it. Yep, he got it. I don't know what it was, something small. He's walking away now. But he nailed that thing. He crushed it. Yeah, he crushed that thing. What is wrong with my display? If you ever watch an egret, and there's something wrong with this. What is wrong with my camera? This egret, he's really on the hunt. Okay. Yeah, this egret he is on the hunt, man. And I'm shooting at ISO 400, 800th of a second. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. I think I've got enough of him. I'm not completely confident in this 1D Mark II. I haven't shot it for a while. It's acting kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know what he was after. He's getting some small crustaceans, maybe. Looks like something very small, maybe a toad. I can analyze it a little bit better later. I'll tell you one thing, man. You cannot beat the autofocus on this 1D Mark II. It's just mind-numbingly fast. It may be only an 8 megapixel camera, but it rocks. I mean, it just rocks. Okay, so I'm heading out here in a fairly marshy area. Sun's behind the clouds. You're dealing with a lot of exposure issues today because you got that partly cloudy thing going on. Or mostly cloudy. I don't know what this would be. You've got sun at some points, and then you've just got darkened, overcast conditions, and then the sun comes out again, and it's kind of an exposure nightmare. Now here we've got something. That's not a coot. I can't tell they're backlit. They all dove under simultaneously. I've never seen that before. Now that's those little birds I'm not familiar with. I need to check on my iPhone real quick and see what they are. I think at the next stop I'm going to look up and see what those things are. Now there's an ibis out in there. He's by himself. Like I said, a lot of the birds are resting right now. It's the heat of the day. But we're shifting rapidly. It's now 2:15. By 3 o'clock we should start seeing some activity again. Oh, there's another cormorant. There was a lot of cormorants here yesterday. Now, I'm not seeing the cormorants today. It's kind of odd. I'm not seeing the birds today. It's very strange. I'm a little disappointed. Now, I was here in the morning yesterday, which does make a difference. I'm not kidding you. Yesterday we got into a situation. We and another photographer, we came up on this, just a huge group of birds. I wouldn't call it a flock. I don't know what you'd call it. Just a bunch of birds hanging. And they were fighting and squabbling. And the snow egrets were doing their thing, jumping up in the air and fighting and pecking at each other. And of course, the great egret was kind of ruling the roost. He was pecking away at them and trying to keep the snow egrets in line. And the roseate spoonbills came in, and they didn't want anything to do with that mess. So they kind of backed off and jumped over another little pond area. But I'm just absolutely astounded at the quality of habitat here. This is very, very well maintained. I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm not big on government, I'll tell you that. I'm not a big hyper government kind of guy. But I do think that here we've got some roseate spoonbills on stop number 11. They're out a little bit. They're all kind of hanging into the shadowy areas right now. Like I said, they're trying to just lay low and get comfortable. But I can see an ibis over there. Got a couple roseate spoonbills. I'm going to try to look up what that duck is while I'm sitting here. Yeah, there goes another ibis. Yeah, the ones I'm seeing right now are just the white ibis like we saw earlier. But let me get back to trying to find that other bird. By the way, if you don't know about it, there's a couple good apps out there for bird watchers. One is made by the Audubon Society, which I have and downloaded, and the other one is by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Any other time here I could find the ducks. Well, I can't find it right now, but like I said, it might not even be a duck. It might be a kind of coot or something. I wouldn't doubt it. Anyway, it's not that important right now. Oh, I've got an ibis right here. Here's a little hunting. I'm gonna see if I can lock in on him. I've got a stupid branch right in my way, and he's out there. Fairly decent lighting. I don't know. I might switch it back to the 7D here. It's a nice looking bird. You know, they say the 7D is just as fast as this camera is. They're liars. But I will say one thing, the 7D has got this beat. Totally beat when it comes to having a 1.6 crop factor. It's just a nice thing to have. Alright, let's move on. It's nothing spectacular to see there. This is one of these things where you just keep driving around and around and the birds move. You know, birds don't stay stationary. You just go out in your backyard and take a look and tell me what you see. If birds stayed in the same place, one, they'd be all dead, because every predator in the world would find them. And two, they'd be so easy to photograph that everybody would have amazing photographs of them. And we're coming up on some more ibises. Looks like some juvenile white ibis. They shouldn't be juveniles, though. That might be a different ibis there. I can't quite see that. Oh, what's this? Is that a night heron? Or is that a reddish egret? I can't tell from this distance. Can't be a night heron, it's too big. That's a reddish egret. I'm telling you one thing, if you don't know your wading bird species, you will by the time you get done with doing this for 3 or 4 days. I highly recommend doing this for several days in a row, because if you just do it one day, it's just hit or miss. You know, you might get really lucky. You might come in there and there's, 400 birds, and you might be like this. You know, this is one thing I've learned is, now if I'd have come here, if I'd have been passing through, and I would have come through here today with my family or something, I would have missed. I would have missed all that I had yesterday. Okay, here's a great egret to my left, just flew in. Not a good location. Good location for him, not a good location for me. Poor lighting. He probably hunts that area regularly. There's more of these waterfowl I'm not familiar with. I'll tell you another thing you really need to do if you're going to get into this kind of thing, and that's you need to get involved with the local Audubon Society, because they're just incredible resources. For example, the Forsyth Audubon, which I belong to, they have an email blast that they put out every time somebody sees a particular bird or some unusual bird. An email goes out to all the members, and you can see, there was a canvasback. I saw 5 canvasbacks, over at, Salem Lake today. They were down by the docks, or down by the pier or whatever. You can go over there and check them out. They'll still be there. Usually they'll be right in that area. That's the advantage of it. But I'm not just doing this recording for the podcast. I'm really doing this recording as well for my personal use, because when I come back here a year from now or 5 years from now, I won't remember, and I can play this recording when I come back, and before I come down, I'll know what to expect. This was in November, mid-November, and this is the birds I saw. I can match that up with my photographs. I did see a hawk here the other day. I'm not sure what kind it was. It was a little bit distant. They do have hawks here. They have harrier. Is it harriers? Oh, I can't remember. I think it's the harriers that they have here. I kind of did something stupid, which I never stopped by the office to ask what was big right now, because those park rangers, they know what's going on, That's always a good idea to do that. I didn't do it. I was stubborn this time around. I may do it before I leave, just to kind of pick their brains a little bit. This area right here, I don't know what generally frequents this area, but I haven't seen anything in this area for 2 days. And this is getting toward the end of the loop right now. And we're coming up to stop number 12. We got a canal still on our right here, which is where the gators are. We've got this giant open, almost like prairie. I wouldn't call it a marsh. It is a marsh, but it's a boggy marsh. It's not a watery marsh. I assume it would flood at certain times of the year, rainy season. We're getting down to it now. We're getting down to photography business now. The lighting is starting to change. It's getting to 2:30. This is the winter time coming up here, and we're in late fall, so expect the sun to go down pretty quick on us. You know, if you visited this place in the summer, you would not want to be here right now at all, because the sun would still be way up in the air. It would be just directly overhead. Plus the temperatures would just be astoundingly terrible. You'd be up in the 100 degree range. But still, I'm still on this road, still going. I guess I've been on this thing, I don't know how long now. 35, 40 minutes. You'll burn a lot of time. Your time will be gone fast on this, because you don't realize just how long, you're so interested in finding birds, you won't realize just how long you've been on this trip. There is a pond here that you can take a left toward near the exit and go down in there. I didn't like it. I went down, and if you have a small vehicle, you'd probably like it a little better. I took this SUV down there, and this rental. It was a little narrow. It was difficult to turn around down in there. I did see a great blue heron down there at close range. I didn't get a good shot of him, but he was there. And if I see a gator along here, I may stop him and try to photograph him. Lots of turkey vultures here, as there is in most of the country these days. I don't think I've ever seen as many turkey vultures as we have in America right now. It's amazing. Black vultures as well. It's just amazing. They made a huge comeback. When I was a kid, I never saw them. Once in a while, you'd see one working a dead carcass somewhere, but I mean, like right here, I'm seeing half a dozen turkey vultures soaring. I don't know. It depends on what you're into. If you're into raptors, I probably wouldn't visit this area, even though you can find some here. Again, I could be wrong about that, but I've been here 3 days. I've seen one raptor besides the vultures. I've seen one raptor, and he was sitting. He wasn't flying. I take that back. If you're not looking for osprey, now there are osprey here. Not a ton, but they are here. You could find some osprey here. There's a lot better areas for osprey, in my opinion. But again, this is a bad time of the year for osprey. But I only saw, if you're into hawks, I did not see any hawks. Just one hawk. I did see some kingfishers. Now I saw no kingfishers today, but they're very skittish. The kingfishers are a very skittish bird. You really need to be in a better blind than a car, and you need to have some perches set up and that kind of thing. We're getting close to the exit here, and that's pretty much it. That's the whole tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I rambled on and on. It just goes to show you how big this park is, this wildlife drive is. It reminds me a lot of some of the other drives I've been on, or one of the other drives I've been on, called, it's kind of the beach version of Cades Cove in Tennessee. But that's it. I'm signing off.
Music for this episode was provided by Dr. Turtle.